Good afternoon, folks. Um, Last time I was on this computer for an afternoon meeting that was on YouTube, it, the sound was bad on there. I'm wondering if anybody can hop on that YouTube and let me know if it sounds okay. I'm trying to get on it myself and it's not letting me. It's just loading, loading. Should be up and running though. Seems good on YouTube. Thanks, Dave. Great. Yeah, I can't get the web page to load for some reason for me. So if anyone lets me know that it doesn't sound good in the virtual trading floor, it'd be appreciated. Okay, I'm gonna get started. I'm an associate member of T3 Trading Group, which is an SEC registered broker dealer and member of FINRA SIPC. All of my trades are placed through T3 Trading Group. You should carefully consider whether trading is suitable for you in light of your own financial condition. My position disclosure was pretty much the same as it was at the end of last week. Not really in a rush to do anything new, big picture, right in front of the election. I don't think the market really is either. All right, let's take a look at the market today. So the SPYs closed down 0.2%. They're trading up 15 cents from the close, probably off Palantir. The Qs are down 0.25%, but they've also bounced a little bit, maybe 35 cents or so from where we closed, and the IWM is up 0.5%. So the Russell, very clear leader here from the Russell. Palantir crushed their numbers. Annoyed at myself for not watching that a little more closely. It looked like it was very viable through the $45 resistance level, but by the time I finished reading the numbers, it was closer to 46, and I didn't want to chase 46. But 45, that breakout in the daily, probably very viable. Numbers look phenomenal. Maybe if you get a retest of that 45, it could be something that you look at. So they absolutely crushed it. Hims doing pretty good here after hours, trading higher. Looks like they beat their EPS and revenue, and not seeing guidance expectations. The guidance looks okay. So Hims trading well, and then I think the other big one we have today is Win Results, which is trading down after hours. A little bit slow Monday, and we got through most of the major earnings names last week. But we are set to get some fireworks this week, potentially on the macro front with the U.S. presidential election and then the Fed. But we'll take that as it comes. I think we've talked about that a lot. So let's take a look at our technicals at the end of today. So the market today didn't trade great, spies and Qs. There was certainly some weakness in the spies. There was some weakness in the Qs. There was a lot of strength in the IWM, which I thought made plenty of sense. Um, Hopping over to the daily chart. So we had an inside day for the spies Qs and the IWM on Friday after a breakdown day on Thursday. So the biggest thing I wanted to see today is if we could get a continuation of that weakness. And we kind of didn't. We kind of didn't really get any follow through on that. At a certain point today around noon when we were breaking lows, it looked like maybe we could get some follow through. The spies were breaking lows. The Qs never actually broke their opening low. The weakness with the open, which got me a little bit excited. We pretty much immediately had an inside and down in these Qs where I thought, oh wow, maybe we get some, 1, 2, 3 type of risk off action here. 1, 2, 3 play kind of from the daily chart after the breakdown on Thursday. Pretty quickly, we snapped back much more than we approached. Rolled down a little bit again midday, but it never led to anything. So at the end of the day, there's not much going on here with this QQQ chart that's new. There's not too much going on here with this SPY chart that's new. And the IWM's had some relative strength with the TLT. The TLT getting a decent bounce today. TLT is up 1.6% on the day. So it seemed to be that what we saw today was a little bit of a reversion on the probability of Trump winning the presidency from a market perspective. And that's what I obviously care about the most, is what the market is telling us. So it's been my opinion as I study the market, as well as the opinion of a lot of really smart sell side analysts, that the price action that we had begun to see over the course of the last week or two was really beginning to price in a Trump win. And I guess with, some of the new poll stuff that was coming out over the weekend, like there was an Iowa poll that showed Harris might be in the lead, we saw a little bit of an unwinding of that from the market. So what does it look like? The Trump trade, again, the market is placing in Trump as an inflationary president, perhaps a more inflationary president than Harris. Though I think that there's a good argument to be made that both of them have inflationary policies that they're planning on implementing. So, what we've seen is the TLT get smoked to the downside and interest rates move higher as they price in more and more of a Trump presidency. So you saw a little bit of an unwinding of that with the TLT up this morning, so interest rates down a little bit. We've seen a really strong move in the dollar as the market was beginning to price in more of a Trump presidency. We saw some unwinding of that at a certain point today, though it did close negative. It bounced back off of lows. Bitcoin today was weaker, so Bitcoin has also kind of been one of those Trump plays. And then finally, I've been of the thought process that Trump play with the TLT move also includes relative strength from the Mag 7 and relative weakness from the IWM. So this morning when we did the morning meeting, we saw that all three indexes were pretty much flat. There was no clear relative strength or relative weakness amongst any of those indexes. I posited that, let's pay attention during the day today to see if the Russell actually gives some relative strength to the cues off of this 2 move, and again, a little bit of an unwinding of the probability of a presidency. So that was kind of the setup coming into today. We did see some upside follow through and relative strength in the IWM, so not surprised to see that with the interest rate move. Really, really strong opening drive here for the Russell. We put out a cute short off this like 1035 candle. It didn't really give that much follow through before it gave new highs, before it actually fell a little bit. But really good relative strength and a bounce back in the IWM, while the Qs managed to be pretty weak today. So, for myself, from a training perspective, I have to be out a little bit midday to go to a doctor's appointment. I also will be out a little bit midday tomorrow, getting a small surgery done midday tomorrow that lasts like an hour, but they're not even putting me out or anything for it. So I think I'll be okay. Um, so I have to see if I can get some downside follow through. I was more focused on the potential of relative weakness and follow through off of the breakdown in the daily chart in the queues on Thursday than I was into the relative strength coming into the IWM, which I also thought um I also thought was a possibility just because the broader technicals have weakened out since Thursday with that breakdown. I would rather go with what I thought the general market direction now is, which is down and bearish, than to try to buy what could be relatively strong and what has overall been a weaker market. So was a little bit of Apple today for some momentum. I thought you could get real momentum down through 220 if it breaks, and it did tip below 220 at a certain point, but never gave any follow through. It was actually showing above that. Ended up making a few dollars in the name. I did get back a good amount of open P&L at a certain point. I was able to short some SMCI at certain points throughout the day today. That was probably my best day trade. Also, an AMD, I was actually looking at the long side, but I felt that I didn't want to be fighting the market. Almost the same way I really want to be buying the IWM. I liked AMD for potential RVO trade today. I liked Tesla into this, 21 EMA and below for a potential long. Um, so I ended up not taking the AMD trade. It did give a good intraday movement at a certain point when it broke back through Friday's high. But I didn't take that trade. I did take the Tesla long below 240, which I called out, but I just kind of took that as a scalp. I didn't even ride it all the way up to the ADMA, and then I was just trying to fight this thing for a move lower. Unfortunately, when I had to step away for a couple hours I put it high, I left right after this high at 255. I put my stop after high. I got stopped out at the 11:10 candle and missed the down move. I don't think I would have gotten stopped out of that if I was in front of my computer, but it just really is unfortunate. So I ended up negative in the name, despite even the few bucks I made on the long. I lost even more than so ended up right in that stock. But overall, between SMCI, Apple, and some NVIDIA shorting day trades that I took throughout today. I ended up making a little bit of money from a day trading perspective, but nothing really to write home about. My whole thought process at this point is I'm really not trying to do anything too aggressive right now in front of the election, especially if I know I have to be gone a little bit midday. A couple day trades here or there to try to get some cash flow. At this point, I feel like I'm pretty light and nimble. I've got some Qs still short. I've got some Nvidia still short, but that really is from Friday. I did really well with Nvidia short on Friday, kind of trading that inside day off that bounce. And then it closed weaker, so I swung a decent amount, and then of course got added to the Dow, that gapped against me, but was able to manage the position by filling into that gap, um, which actually paid pretty okay. So that's pretty much it. We are in wait and see mode right now for this market, I think, until we get through the election and the market's holding in okay. We didn't get the downside follow through, which leads me to believe that we're kind of just in wait and see mode at this point. And then we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens with this event because I really think that there are situations where this market could give big moves in either direction. The bold case to be made is simply that we come away from the election without any major disasters and all of the hedging and the elevated VIX and everything needs to be unwound, which creates a big bid in the market. I think the real outlier situation for a potentially really big down move, it's a lower probability, but not impossible, is if on Wednesday at 9:30 when the market's opening up, we still don't have a clear idea of who the president is at that point. I think that degree of uncertainty, because the market hates uncertainty more than anything else, could be a big problem for the market. So it's a tough situation because I can really, really see us going with potentially pretty big moves in either direction once we get through this event. So for me, I got a fairly hedged portfolio on that's light so I can be nimble and ready to really start repositioning myself once we get through the event risk of this week. So that's all that I've got. I am happy to take a look at any questions, thoughts, ideas, anything that you guys have. Anything at all from anybody. This is your chance. Anybody? Not too much to talk about, so happy to do a quick one today if nobody has any questions. It's a little bit of a boring-ish day. Nobody? Going once, going twice. Sold. All right. So happy to wrap it up there with a quick one. I will see everybody tomorrow morning where we'll see how this market gaps. And I don't have big expectations for tomorrow's trading session. I think it'll be kind of more of the same that we got today as we just wait to get through this event. So everybody make sure to vote. If you're a US citizen, and you can vote, it's a privilege to be able to do so. So whatever you think is the best candidate, whether it's Democrat or the Republican or third party or Mickey Mouse, whatever, get out there and do your part and vote. Have a great night, everybody. I will see you all tomorrow. Yeah, Palantir crushed those earnings. Looking really good. All right, see you tomorrow.